So as things stands right now, the Saddam of Sokoto and the Oni of Ife has been made the co-chairman of the all traditional rulers in the northern region and in the northern Nigeria and the southern Nigeria. How can the Oni of Ife, the herbalist, a shrine priest, become the chairman of all traditional rulers in southern Nigeria? Nigeria has been divided into two by tradition. That the southern Nigeria belongs to the Muslim. The Sadana of Sokoto is the traditional head of all southern Nigeria, while Ooni of Ife has been made the traditional ruler of the southern Nigeria. So Nigeria has been divided into two by tradition. How can Ooni of Ife, who is never a king or a chief or a nogi or a king, become the head of all traditional rulers in southern Nigeria? That is an abomination. Everything I have ever been done to Benin Kingdom, I wasn't there when it was done. I was not there in 1897 when the British massacred Nigeria. I wasn't there in 1914 when amalgamation was made. But I was born before Nigeria became a country in 1960. I was born before 1960. So for that simple reason, seeing what I'm seeing now, I'm not happy with the situation that we find ourselves. I'm not alone in this journey. I'm not happy with the situation we find ourselves, knowing what we know now, that we need to go our separate way. Ooni of Ife cannot speak on behalf of the Oba of Benin. Ooni of Ife cannot speak on behalf of the Oba of Lagos. Ooni does not have the capacity to speak on behalf of the Obi of Agbo, or the Enoge of Oromi, or the Otaro of Auchi. Ooni of Ife does not have that capacity. Ooni of Ife, being now the head of the traditional rulers in the southern Nigeria, Ooni will now be determining the salary of all the heads of traditional rulers. Who get paid, who doesn't get paid. If you are in his good book, you will be paid. If you are in his bad book, you will not be paid. Ooni will not determine who see the president. If you are a friend of his, you cannot tell him, why do you want to see the president? He will allow you to see the president. So without Ooni of Ife, all the traditional rulers in the southern Nigeria does not have access to anything related to Nigeria, because Ooni of Ife, first and foremost, must be told, why do you want to see the president? If you have any complaint, you complain to him, he will go before you before the president. So Ooni of Ife is basically now in charge of all traditional rulers. So Ooni can decide who becomes the traditional rulers, who should be promoted, who should be demoted, who should be suspended. Ooni of Ife is not the one in charge. You will not tell me, oh, it's not true. That is your problem if it's not true. But mark it. The governor is above the traditional ruler. Even the local government chairman is above the traditional rulers. You might say, it cannot be done. Well, the emir of Kano were deposed by the governor of Kano. The emir of Kano, Alhaji Sanusi, the former central bank governor. Go and check your history book. Alhaji Sanusi, the emir of Kano, were deposed from his position, banished from his palace, sent to exile within Kano. That is in the north. In the south, what happened? The Enoge of Oromi were suspended by Adam Oshomole when he was the governor of Edo State. The Enoge of Oromi was suspended by Adam Oshomole, the ex-governor of Edo State. Go and check your history book. It's been 129 years since Bini Kingdom was overthrown. So it's time we get back our land. So my grievances now about the Nigeria system is, Ooni of Ife cannot speak on behalf of the Oba of Benin. Not now, not ever. That is why I'm calling on the sons and daughters of the great Benin Kingdom. It's time we leave Nigeria for good. When Nigeria was amalgamated, it was done on the basis of the north, the west, and the east. The Igbos, the Yorubas, and the Hausas. That's how Nigeria was founded. Benin Kingdom that was invaded in 1897, for which purpose Nigeria was created, was excluded in the amalgamation. Before Nigeria was created, they waited until our Oba Ovorame joined his ancestors in 1914. They waited. They could not amalgamate Nigeria. They could not create Nigeria. Go and check the history book. The British could not create Nigeria because Obavorame was still alive. Because he did not sign treaty with the British. He did surrender to the British. Yeah, he was deposed. He was in exile. But he never surrendered to the British. The British waited till 1914. From 1897 to 1914. They waited until they visited him in Calabar. He drank tea with them in the morning and died in the evening. He was poisoned. The people who went to visit him poisoned him. He drank tea with them in the morning, died in the evening. That same year, 1914, Nigeria was amalgamated. It's been 129 years since it all happened. So seeing this now, that the Ooni of Ife, a herbalist, a chief priest, has been made the head of traditional rulers in southern Nigeria, we said with the Bini Kingdom, enough is enough. We are pulling out of Nigeria. We'll be there to keep the peace all this while. We've been there, keeping the peace all this while. To a point whereby the tenants in our house are now crying that they want to leave. We were the landlord. The tenants that were in our house, they were all crying that the landlord has been deposed of his house. The tenant and his children, they are all crying. But we, who owns the house, we fold our hands, we are looking. Even the tenants are even crying more than the bereaved. The tenants who were living in our house, the Igbos and the Yorubas, they are fighting, they want to become a country that never existed prior before 1897. Before 1897, we only have 3 regions, the Northern Caliphate, the Oyo Empire, and the Benin Kingdom. They were never a country called, people called Yoruba. Yoruba language was Oyo language. They were never people called Igbo. The Igbo language and Oyo language Yoruba language were created by Jai Crowder. So, my Benin people, it's time we come out of Nigeria and become who we were prior before 1897. Let us return to our monarchy system.